Welcome back, familia, to Northside LDN. And today we got a special show. We're going to be having a look. We've got 100% Mags in the building. And with him, we're going to have a look at what's been going on with Newcastle. I think a team that's soon to be one of our rivals. Definitely, since the new owners have come in, they're looking a lot more serious. They also beat us to Guimarães as well. He preferred to go over to Newcastle over signing to Arsenal. So today we've got Carl from 100% Mags. Make sure you go and follow that channel. How are you doing, Carl? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing absolutely great, mate. Thanks for having us on the channel as well. It's amazing to see, this support as well from other fans. It's been great going on different channels, getting me pointing across about, the club that I love, the club I've been supporting all my life. And, it's just like you guys, we live and die for this club, just like you guys do, for Arsenal, I'm sure. And it's brilliant to see, that we're finally getting back to what we used to be, and we're going to be able to go beyond that as well, hopefully. But it's going to take time. It is going to take patience, which, we will talk about in this video, of course, today.
No, 100%. I mean, before we get into how you feel, if you're happy or not with the transfer window, let's go back to last season. I mean, last season, at one point, you guys were almost facing relegation. You get your new manager in, Joe Linton, a player that I think everybody wrote off, not just Newcastle fans. I think a lot of people, including myself, thought he wasn't going to be good enough for the Premier League. Your new manager comes in and Eddie Howe seems to get a tune out of him, and not just him, the whole squad. It seems like your whole team is playing as a whole team. It's not just, hoof it to Saint Maximin and see if he can do something special. What do you make of the turnaround last season at Newcastle?
Like I was just saying here before we came on air there, it's just been a breath of fresh air to see this complete rejuvenated team. I mean, when you compare it to what we were going under with Bruce, and before that as well, it just feels like a completely revitalized team. It feels like a different atmosphere at the club. It feels more like a family as well now. Everybody's included. There's the players are all connected with each other as well. The first thing that Eddie Howe did when he first came into the club was get all the players into the training ground and get a big ball and just put all of the family names, their kids, their birthdays, everything, just put it in one big massive ball so that, we can get that feeling of a family, a unity, a united, if you will, feel around the team. And it's just brilliant to see that, because that's something, that you don't really see that much in football these days. Most clubs, they just think about the football side of things. But Eddie Howe is that brilliant of a manager. He's thinking about off the field as well as on the field, because it's, 50% of the game is played on the pitch. But, the other 50% is played up here in your mind. It's a mental side of the game. Yeah. You've got to be able to get into that feel, of being a united team and being, as one. And Joe Linton is really benefiting from that philosophy that, Eddie Howe has put onto the club. And it's just brilliant to see, and I'm happy for that lad that he spent, being able to turn things around, because I've got to say, I'm not going to come on here and say, oh, I knew this could turn it around. I knew that, this lad didn't have the best of ability. He was being played out of position for one. He's not an attacker. Let's face it. We're paid 40 million. I don't even think, it was 40 million for Joe Linton, to be honest. I think it was under that. I think there was money that disappeared off to make Ashley like it always does. But we've now, been able to see the true potential of Joe Linton. And I don't want to be too crazy, but he looks like an absolute beast in the midfield. I mean, literally, once you include Bruno with him as well, I mean, he's literally next level, this lad. It could be worth even more than 40 million. I mean, there was a stat going around last season where they compared him with Declan Rice in the midfield, and we all know what Declan Rice is like as a midfielder. We all know, he's high up the list for England internationals. and a player that is highly regarded in modern day football. So, you know, for Joe Linton to be comparing him and beating him in stats as well last season is absolutely amazing to see for a lad, you know, that really was struggling here on Tyneside. But it's great to see, you know, that he's turned it around, and it's just great to see that this, you know, family unity is in the team, because you don't see it in any other team.
No, I don't think anyone could argue on that. When it comes to that, I mean, he's definitely found his position, which is in the midfield. I think he was ineffective. Obviously, we all knew he was ineffective as a striker, but as a midfielder, he seems to be ripping up trees. I think I would like to get your opinion also on Guimarães, because Arsenal was in for Guimarães, and he chose obviously to go to Newcastle. Kind of mugged us off in his reveal for Newcastle, which was a bit, for me, was two fingers stuck up at Mikel and Arteta. The Lord and Saviors of Arsenal, apparently. What do you make of Guimarães in his time with Newcastle? Have you been impressed with him?
Very, very impressed with him. I mean, he came in last season. He didn't even play that many games for it. It took him a little while to get into the swing of things. Now, that was mainly down to the fact that, you know, Eddie Howe didn't want to rush him into the side. He wanted to take time with him, allow him to adapt to the, you know, feeling of English football. It is completely different to what the French play over in Ligue 1. And, you know, Bruno just come in. He adapted really well. He's took to the language really well as well. His English has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, when I seen him first come into the club and do his first press conference, he could barely speak English. Now he's absolutely, you know, nigh on fluent in English, and that is down to the fact of, again, you know, Joe Linton and Bruno partnering up, that, you know, family feeling that they've got with each other. They're like, you know, brothers, to be honest, and that's something that they have said themselves on Twitter as well. You know, that they're like brothers, and it's just brilliant to see this sort of, you know, philosophy being adapted to the team. Bruno, like I say, you know, he came in and he just hit the ground running once he started getting games. He started scoring goals, assists, you know, and that is what you want to see from a player, you know, that comes into the club, and he's dedicated to the club as well. And I know, you know, he did hit out at Arsenal in that, and he's, you know, unveiling for Newcastle, which us Newcastle fans, of course, obviously took a little bit of a laugh at that, because you know, it's always funny to see somebody put something up like that about a team after they've turned them down. And of course, now we're seeing again a similar situation to the Bruno situation, where, you know, Arsenal were looking at Lucas Paqueta, and now it looks like, you know, Edu, Arsenal's director, of course, has now said that, you know, he's a Newcastle target. And it looks as though, you know, Lucas Paqueta has already got his eyes set and his heart set on moving to Newcastle. So that looks like that's why Arsenal's backed out of the deal for Lucas Paqueta. And I've got to say, if we can get Lucas Paqueta in and we can have him in the midfield alongside Bruno and Joe Linton, it's like literally next level team. That would literally take us to a level where, you know, we could be competing for a Europa League, maybe, Europa Conference League, maybe Europa League, and then go from there. You know, if we don't have to get into the Champions League spots, to be honest, in the league, we can just get into the Europa League spot, win the Europa League, you know, and then you do get a place in the Champions League, which quite a few people do seem to forget about that. But, you know, that would be an option that we could be looking at, to getting into the Champions League, which obviously is something that PIF do want to do. With a club that do want to take Newcastle to the next level as well. But for Bruno, I've got to say, he's been absolutely fantastic so far. And if he continues like this, he's going to be worth absolute millions.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%, I agree. Before we get into your business in this transfer window, I want to get into one more player that you guys brought in, Kieran Trippier. Have you been impressed? I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't, no offense to Newcastle, but I didn't think that they would be able to pull in somebody like Trippier just because of what Mike Ashley's done to your club. Not because you're not a big club, because you're a massive club. arguably, I've said you've got a bigger fan base. Not even arguably, you have got a bigger fan base than Man City. I think everything's in line for you lot to elevate. You're one club City. Everyone in Newcastle practically supports Newcastle. So all the infrastructure, everything is really there. You just need to upgrade everything, the training ground, etc., etc., etc. But the fan base and the support of Newcastle is right up there with the biggest clubs in England. So, what did you make of the Trippier signing, and did he meet your expectations?
Well, Trippier coming in, that was the start of it all. That was, the signing that allowed to bring in the likes of Bruno, to bring in the likes of, Sven Botman, and to bring in all of the other players that have come after Trippier as well. Trippier's been a true leader in the dressing room since day one, since he came into the club. And obviously there was always a chance that we could get Trippier in because of the connection, that Trippier has with Eddie Howe, with him being at Burnley when Eddie Howe was there. Obviously, Eddie Howe has a connection with Diego Simon at Atletico Madrid because he went over there whilst he was, off of his break away once he left Bournemouth, of course. And he went off and he trained, out there in Spain. He's seen games of Atletico Madrid. He was invited by Diego Simone to Atletico Madrid's training ground to watch players play in that. So obviously, again, Eddie Howe's had talks with Kieran Trippier when he's been there because of them both being at Burnley together. So that, does help in being able to acquire Kieran Trippier out of the club. But like I say, Kieran Trippier has been fantastic since he's come in. He's been a leader on and off the field. Even last season when he picked up the injury, and he was out for quite a bit of the season, he still continued to follow the team home and away whilst, having his foot in a massive cast. And that, shows the pure dedication that Kieran Trippier has got to, making it work here at Newcastle United and making this project that PIF, PCP and the RB Sports Media, have going at Newcastle. Everybody's just pulling in the right directions. Just great to see after, 15 years of neglect from an owner that was only there to use us as an advertising board. But I'm really impressed with Kieran Trippier since he's come into the club, definitely for that one.
No, fair enough. Listen, I think he's performed really well for you guys. Obviously, you mentioned the injury, that was a bit, but these things happen in football. But his performances, when I've seen him anyway for Newcastle, not saying I watch every Newcastle game, but every time I have watched them, he's been really, really good. And I do think he has that leadership. Obviously, going to Atletico Madrid as well, he must have learned that leadership skills over there with Atletico Madrid. So it goes without saying that was a great signing. And it seems like you guys are buying players to fit a system. You're not kind of doing the mistakes that, early Man City made when they would go and sign a Robinho, and instead of buying a team player that fits the system, it seems like you're trying to buy a squad. And that was something that I was impressed with Newcastle. I mean, you guys have come into money, but you've got examples like Chelsea, like Man City, of what to do and what not to do. Obviously, you now got, FFP and things like that, financial fair play, that some people may say that will hinder you. But I feel like because you've already got the support and the fan base, I feel like that's going to help you a lot because you draw in a lot of money. And now you've also got the ownership with a lot of money. So balancing the books, you've got the fan base to, support the club and keep yourselves afloat and, be kind of towing that line with FFP, in my opinion, only as an outsider, as an Arsenal fan. But listen, let's get into some rumors. Yeah, let's get into some. Actually, before we get into some rumors, what business have you already done before we get into rumors surrounding Newcastle? What players have you already brought in this transfer?
We've brought in Kieran Trippier, like we mentioned. We've brought in, looking at January, we brought in Kieran Trippier. We brought in Dan Burn. We brought in Matty Target on loan from Aston Villa, who has now become a permanent signing in this window. We brought in Chris Wood for 25 million, which quite a few people thought that was a bit of a bad idea. It did work out in a way because he did help, with assists, and he did get a few goals. And of course, it did weaken one of the relegation rivals as well in Burnley. So that was a smart move by the owners on that one. And then, of course, we did bring in Bruno Guimarães as well in the January window. And then we'll come on to this window now that we're currently in. And of course, like I say, we brought in Matty Target on a permanent deal after that loan deal last season. We brought in Nick Pope from Burnley, which is a player that does have the potential to go to the England #1 spot, which, you know, we have seen that with him. He does have that potential to be able to do it. Maybe he can do it at Newcastle United. You know, we will probably see, you know, during this season how it goes. And I'm sure, you know, he will be battling Martin Dubravka for that #1 spot as well at Newcastle. And then, of course, we're signed Sven Botman, somebody who has been regarded as one of the best centre-backs in world football right now. He's being touted as the next Virgil van Dijk as well. And we signed him, you know, for a pretty good fee as well. So we didn't pay over the odds for the lad. He's a young lad as well. And if you look at the players that we have brought in as well, you know, in the players that were already at the club, it's a young team. You know, obviously Kieran Trippier's over 30 now. Dan Burns into the 30s now. You know, some of them have went into their 30s now, but, you know, with them are the experienced players. Them are going to be the players that, you know, take it to that next level. Like we've seen, you know, with Manchester City when, you know, they first got taken over, they didn't go out, you know, and sign absolute world beaters. Yes, they signed Robinho, you know, but they still had the likes of your Richard Dunn, your Stephen Ireland. Yeah, they still had players like that at their club that they were bringing in. So, you know, where Man City's went out and bought Robinho, we haven't quite gotten that player yet to that level, I don't think. You could say Bruno would be up there. You could say Botman would be up there. Kieran Trippier may be up there as well. But, you know, we haven't quite signed that player who is going to be, you know, the proven goal scorer up front. And for me, at the moment, the one that is being touted around Newcastle at the moment is Benjamin Sesko of RB Salzburg. Now, he is a player that is being said to be the next Erling Haaland. Now, that speaks volumes in itself right there. We all know what Haaland's there. Like, obviously, Haaland's in Manchester City now. We know what Haaland did when he was in the Bundesliga for Borussia Dortmund as well.
I don't like when people start saying the next, you know. I don't like when people start saying the next. Do you remember Bojan? He was the next Messi. And what happened there? Puta, goodbye. You know how many next Ronaldos are next? Just let them be them. Do you know what I mean? Like that. You just put unwanted stress and pressure on these players. Do you know what I mean?
I think, to be honest, it should just be like they're the first them. It shouldn't be, oh, they're going to be the next this person, the next that person, because we've seen that in the past. You know, is Ronaldo and Messi the next Diego Maradona and Pelé? In my eyes, you know, I'd say that, you know, not a lot of people will agree with us here, but I'd say that Messi and Ronaldo may be better than Diego Maradona and Pelé. You know, they've got a better goal scoring ability. They've, you know, played at the highest level for quite a while. Pelé, let's not forget, you know, when he played his football, he played most of it out in Brazil. He didn't really come across, you know, to play in Europe. Diego Maradona, of course, did play in Europe. He played for Napoli, but, you know, he didn't quite hit the ground running like, you know, the likes of a Messi or Ronaldo. But going back to Benjamin Sesko, you know, I think he would be a player, you know, that we could really build with going forward. He could be our version of maybe Sergio Aguero, like Man City got. You know, we need that kind of player, I think, to be able to take it to that next level. We definitely need somebody up top that can be that goal scorer for wins, you know, be able to take the team forward from the front. We've got leaders all over the team at the moment. We've got Trippier, who leads from the right back position. We've got Dan Burn, who leads in the centre back position. You know, you've got Martin Dubravka at the moment, who leads from the goalkeeping position. You know, so there's leaders all in the team, which is fantastic to see. You know, and then we've obviously got Jamal Lascelles as well, who is being said that he's going to be continuing as the club captain. But, you know, something that I have talked about on my channel is, will he get that much game time? You know, now with the likes of Dan Burn in there, Fabian Shaw in there, you know, you've got Sven Botman in there as well. You know, will the likes of Jamal Lascelles be getting as much game time at Newcastle United. And I think, you know, like I said on my channel, I don't think he will get as much game time. And that does give a benefit slightly in the fact that we do get then to have, you know, Kieran Trippier, which is somebody that we've all wanted as Newcastle United fans to be the captain of Newcastle since coming in, because of the way he leads the team. Like I said just earlier, you know, on and off the field, he's a born leader and he knows what he's doing. He's led, you know, Atletico Madrid at the highest level as well. And it's proven with the accolades he's got for individual achievements out in La Liga, and also, you know, team achievements that he got out in La Liga as well, with them winning the La Liga and also other things as well. So it's all looking positive at the moment. It's just a little bit quiet, unfortunately, at the moment as well on the transfer front, but I can understand why we are in, you know, the position at the moment where we're trying to look for the forwards. This is always the hardest part of you know, a transfer window, trying to get the right deal for the right forward, the right striker, winger, what have you. You know, you need to be getting this right from the get-go. You can't be going out there and paying, you know, 30 to 40 million on an absolute dud. You definitely need to be going out there and getting, you know, the right player from the get-go, because you don't want to end up with other clubs where we've seen it, you know, where they've brought in players and they've been absolute duds. They've been sold on, and it's a wasted signing. It's wasted money. And, you know, it's, again, putting you back at the same situation of having to go out there again in the next window and trying to buy in a forward or a striker, you know. But it's all looking positive at the moment. Just a little bit quiet, unfortunately, on the transfer front.
Trust me, it's getting quiet over this side as well, and it's starting to get me vexed. I can't lie to you. Listen, people, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you also go like and subscribe to 100% Max channel as well. Go help out Carl. Go subscribe. You know what I mean? You need variation in fan channels. We always need to see what the ops are doing. You know what I mean? See what other teams are doing. No, because do you know how I look at it, bro? I look at it like a lot of times Arsenal fans over big up. Not the ones that watch this channel. There's some real fans with some higher standards, but a lot of times they big up a lot of the transfers. But then I say to him, well, when you look at the transfer business, you have to also look at your, you know, the other teams around you that are fighting for the same things, and then you can actually get a measurement of how good your transfer window is. Because if we're playing catch up with the big six, we finished 5th last season, barring Man United, but they can spend just as much money and they have just as much pull, if not more, because they got European heritage. Now, when you look at the business of our rivals and you look at our business, it's not that great. So, you know, sometimes I look at it and I say, you know, it's been decent. Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus has been good. Barring that, the rest of them is a bit iffy. It's not that great. They're not starting. They're not coming into starting lineup. They're more rotation players. Do you know what I mean? When you're seeing Chelsea getting Sterling and Koulibaly and, you know, Liverpool and Man City getting some, you know, world beaters. So, listen, we're not going to get into Arsenal yet. We're now going to get into players that I've seen or headlines that I've seen surrounding Newcastle. And I want to get your take on these headlines, whether you think it's realistic that Newcastle were in for these players, or you think it's just journalists, you know, trying to get clicks and trying to get clickbait. So the first player we're going to get into surrounding Newcastle is Depay. Apparently Depay is being linked to Newcastle. Newcastle target told to leave Barcelona and could be available for just 20 million euros, which is probably about 15 million pounds. What do you make of this story? Do you believe it, or what do you make of it?
I think there is some interest there from Newcastle, obviously, for Memphis Depay because of what he's done. You know, in football, obviously didn't hit the ground running at Man United. Was that really his fault? I don't think so. To be honest, I think it was, again, you know, the similar situation that we see with Man United, you know, with their players. They've done it to many players before, like Di Maria. You know, he was absolutely fantastic when he was at Real Madrid. He went to Man United and it absolutely bombed for him. Alexis Sanchez, of course, one of your players, and he went, you know, to Man U and it bombed. We're seeing Ibrahimovic go to Man U and it didn't quite work out as good as he hoped. So again, you know, it's a similar situation with the Memphis Depay one. He went to Man United. It didn't quite work out. I don't think it was really his fault, to be honest. And I think, Newcastle would be interested in Memphis Depay because he has that ability. He can play on the wing. He can play as a striker. I think he can even play in the role just behind the striker, in that attacking midfield role as well. So that is an area that, we could be looking at to go forward with as well, to help out with the likes of Callum Wilson, maybe even Chris Wood if we can't get that striker in this window. But it's definitely a one that does have some legs in it, I think. But 20 million euros isn't a bad fee, to be honest. But I think if we waited out a little bit longer, get a little bit closer to that deadline day, I think we could maybe get him for a little bit less. Barcelona would be in the squeaky bum time where they're really desperately wanting the money. This is a club, that, as we know, are having a lot of financial trouble at the moment, Barcelona, and, it's definitely an area that we can look to capitalize on by waiting out, a little bit longer and allowing that fee to come down a bit more. And then, it's even more of a deal, even more of a bargain, getting in a player of that ability as well. And he still plays international football as well for Holland. So, he can still play at the high level. So it is a good deal. And I think it does have some legs, but I think we do have to wait out, for a little bit longer on that one to maybe bring the fee down a bit more. Not that we can't pay 20 million euros, but, you do want to look at it from the FFP side of things, not spending too much money too fast and then it not working out. But definitely does have legs, that one, I think, going forward.
Okay, cool. Okay. I fully get what you're saying. I think Depay at a current top 6 team, I don't think is good enough, but a team that is a bit lower down, I think he could do a job. He was linked up to Arsenal, and for me personally, I didn't want him at Arsenal, but I can see why you wouldn't mind him at Newcastle, especially for only paying 20 odd million pounds or 15 million pounds plus add-ons, probably take up to about 20 million pounds. You could do worse, a lot worse than Depay, I think, at Newcastle. So I kind of get where you're coming from. The next player, Newcastle Everton step up the interest in Chelsea striker Borja after West Ham drop out. Now, is this a striker that you would like at Newcastle?
He is a player that does have Premier League experience, which is something that we've been signing quite a bit, as you can see, with the players that we've brought in, like Matty Targett, Dan Burn, Chris Wood. There's players that have that Premier League experience. It's going to help, the player to hit the ground running when they come into the team, because they're not going to have to adapt to the way the Premier League plays. Obviously, it did look like at one point that he was going off to West Ham, Broja, but unfortunately for Chelsea on that one, of course, he ended up, not making that move to West Ham, as West Ham ended up looking at bringing in Samaka instead from Italy, and they went with him instead of going with Broja. I think Broja does have the ability. I think he could be a player, that could come in and do something for it. Is he a player that could be with the club for the foreseeable future? Like further down the line when we're challenging for, the Champions League or playing in the Champions League, is he a player that could really do that for it? I don't know, to be honest, because I haven't seen enough of him to make an assumption on that. But it definitely is a player that I would like to see come to Newcastle. I think he does have the ability, but, it's if he's going to be able to hit the ground running as well, because most players, like, he's already at Chelsea, so is he going to want to move up to the northeast?
Would he be a starter for you guys if you got him? Would you reckon?
I don't know. I think he could be. It all depends, to be honest. He could be a starter, but at the moment, you've got to be able to get past Callum Wilson, who has been absolutely on fire. The only problem with Callum Wilson at Newcastle is the fact that, he is prone to injury, so there is that risk that, he will get injured in the season at some point, and we know, that is a big risk because we've seen it already since he's been here. that he has been injured a few times in the season, and would definitely need to be looking at bringing somebody in to, be a backup to Callum Wilson, or, be the replacement for Callum Wilson. If Broja's that player, I'm not quite sure, to be honest, myself on that one. But to be honest, it is a player that I would be interested in seeing join Newcastle. I've got to say that, definitely.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, we've got another player from the Premier League being linked to Newcastle. Leicester demand huge money for Newcastle target Barnes. Apparently, it's saying Leicester want 50 million pounds for Harvey Barnes. Would you take Harvey Barnes at Newcastle?
He's got the ability. He is a good player, but 50 million is a massive price tag. Now, I know you're paying the English tax there, but then I think there's also, what we have now coined the phrase of the Newcastle tax. What we knew was going to be coming with having such wealthy owners. We knew we were going to have to pay over the odds for players. And I've got to say, the owners have been very, very smart in that aspect, that they haven't paid over the odds. Because once you do it for one, then you're going to have to do it for the rest of the deals going forward, because then people are going to go, well, you did it for that one, so why don't you do it for this one? And we don't want to do that, because then that takes we're down the path again what we were talking about with the FFP, where you're then chipping away at FFP. Now, there's plenty of FFP leg room, for Newcastle, with we're not spending much over the 15 years of Mike Ashley's ownership. That is the one thing, I guess, that you can sort of say about Ashley's penny pinching. It has helped win the FFP thing. And I hate to say that, because, it absolutely sucked to have to go through 15 years of that, to be honest. But now we are at a point where, we've got very wealthy owners. We can go out there and buy who we want, pretty much. If we want to go out and get them, we can go get them. But it's all down to the fact of, are they going to improve the team? Are they a player, that is going to be able to hit the ground running in the team? Are they going to be able to fit in with the team as well? Because that's another thing, that Eddie Howe has been talking about and has adapted to the team, like we were saying earlier in the video, where Eddie Howe, has that family feel around the team. Is Harvey Barnes going to be able to come in, and adapt to that, feeling in the team? Is he going to be able to adapt to it? I don't know. He is a good player, but like I say, 50 million is a big asking price. And I think, Newcastle will not pay that, and the owners will not pay that fee for a player that hasn't really proven that much in football so far, because, he is playing at Leicester. Non offence to Leicester in that, of course, but, they haven't quite been regulars in the Champions League all the time. They've played Europa League, they've played in the Euro Conference League, I think, as well.
Yeah.
They haven't quite been regulars in the Champions League, and that's somewhere, like I said earlier, that the owners are wanting Newcastle to be constant, additions to the Champions League, and in that top part of the table as well, in the top 8, top 4 region of the table, and be battling up there on a regular basis. So I don't know if Harvey Barnes, to be honest, could, be that player to be able to do that. But we'll see if it happens. I will back the lad. I'll back everybody, that the owners bring in at the end of the day. Everybody deserves a chance to prove, their worth at the club. And that's something that I do like to see about Newcastle as well, because not a lot of other clubs do that. They usually slate the player before they've even played a game for them, just because they've seen what the player did at a previous club. You've got to see what the player does at your club, because, the manager's style's different. The atmosphere in the stadium's different. The feel around the entire team is different as well. So it doesn't mean just because the player is crap at one team, he's going to be crap at your team. But that's my thoughts on Harvey Barnes.
There you go. I think he's a very good player. I agree with you as well. I think 50 mil is a bit too much for Harvey Barnes, to be honest. I'd pay about 35 to about 40 max. If I was a Newcastle fan, that's what I would prefer. I think 50 is a bit too much. Obviously including the wages and the rest of it. People, listen. Don't be a filo da puta. You already know what time it is. Make sure you go subscribe to 100% Mags channel, and also make sure you like the video and subscribe here. Don't be a Viado. Don't be Arteta. Don't be Edu, innit? Come on, we know better. You know what I mean? Make sure you like and subscribe. The next headline, Man United and Newcastle could battle it out for really talented forward. I think this was a striker that you was on about, Red Bull Salzburg.
Yeah.
Benjamin Sesko? Is that how you pronounce
it?
Yeah,
Benjamin Sesko, yeah.
That's it. What do you make of him? Do you think the links are true? Would you like him at Newcastle?
Like I said earlier, you know, he's a player that I'd definitely like to see play at Newcastle. He's been lighting it up in the Austrian League. He's been lighting it up for his national side as well. His agent, which does help to the case of him moving to Newcastle as well. There was, of course, images that his agent put up on his Instagram account of him at the UK border control at Newcastle Airport. And then, of course, he did put up another image of him on the key side as well, with it saying Newcastle United up on time. I did cover it on the channel. And, of course, you know, that is a massive, you know, boost to the rumours of him coming to Newcastle United. There is a lot of rumours going around saying that this deal is pretty much maybe already done, from what I've heard from a few different people, but I haven't seen it from many, you know, media outlets out there. But from rumours that I'm hearing from, you know, your in your nose in that out on Twitter, you know, they're saying that this deal could be pretty much done with the agent already being in Newcastle. But
have they mentioned the fee?
I think, to be honest, his market value is 9 million, so the fee could be somewhere between, you know, 10 million to 15 million, which is absolute pennies for a player, you know, that is being touted as the next Erling Haaland, you know, when you consider how much Man City's just paid for him. So, you know, if he does turn out to be that level of player, or even better than that level of player, you know, then you're getting an absolute bargain there for a player that's, you know, like you say on the article there, only 19 years old, you know, so it's going to be absolutely amazing, you know, if we can acquire the signing of Benjamin Sesko to Newcastle United. And of course, he's 6'4" as well. He's speedy, which is a rarity when you consider, you know, the height of the lad as well. And that's something that I want to touch on as well, about the height. That's something, you know, that Newcastle have been doing in the window. If you look at the players that have been purchased, you know, most of the players are over 6 foot, or just around 6 foot. You know, Dan Burn, of course, 6'7". Sven Botman, 6'4". You know, so there's a very tall height being put in here. And I've got to say, Newcastle will probably be, you know, this season, the tallest defenders in the Premier League. Obviously, we've seen Man United get the shortest defender in the Premier League with their signing that they just got, where he's only 5'6", I believe it is.
Martinez.
They brought him in.
He was another Arsenal saviour, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that I want to touch on as well. I know it takes off topic away from Newcastle, but also, you know, I'm looking at others, like you say, you know, other teams around who we could be going up against this season. And obviously yourselves are one of them teams. You have signed Zinchenko, you know, you have signed Gabriel Jesus as well from Man City. Now, I look at that deal, the brilliant deals, you know, the two brilliant players, but looking at it, you know, it starts to, if you're an Arsenal fan, you know, I'd be getting quite worried at that, because, you know, then that's looking at it and saying, you know, that Man City don't really see Arsenal as a threat to them. And that is very worrying. And, you know, if I was in that situation as a fan, I'd be thinking, well, ooh, that's not great. And obviously, you know, Man City is levels ahead of what Arsenal's doing at the moment. The levels ahead of pretty much everybody in the Premier League at the moment. They are the team to beat. And that is, of course, somewhere, that Newcastle are going to have to, get to. If we want to be the best team in the league, we need to beat Manchester City. We need to get beyond that level that Man City's at right now. We need to also, get beyond that level that Liverpool is at right now, because Liverpool, of course, are going, of late, toe-to-toe with Man City on their performances in the league and how they've been performing in the league as well. But it's not going to last with Liverpool, unfortunately, in my eyes. In my opinion, I think it's only a little while now until, of course, Liverpool have to drop down, because, Mo Salah's getting older now. He's in the latter end of his career. We've seen, Sadio Mane make his move away to, Bayern Munich, because he wanted to be the star of the show. He wasn't getting to be the star of the show at Liverpool. We've seen Liverpool bring in Darwin Núñez. Now, that is a brilliant signing if, he can hit the ground running. Same with the Haaland one. It's a brilliant signing if he can hit the ground running. The only problem with the Darwin Núñez one is, and the reason why I'm sort of glad Newcastle didn't get him, is the rumours going around about an injury that he had when he was younger, in a medical report that went missing, about an injury that he had on his knee. Now, that is very worrying, because you don't know, the severity of what that injury is. That could really hamper his career down the line. If it was a very serious injury, it could really hamper his career down the line. So it is a good deal, but there is, that worrying factor there for Liverpool fans. I'm sure, they'll be thinking about it in the back of their minds if, they are looking at it from, all aspects, and not just looking at it from the fact of, well, the lad's scoring goals, so, he's going to be absolutely amazing. You do have to look at, all sides of the coin when you're looking at players coming into the club, and a rumour about a player picking up an injury when he's younger and in a medical report missing. That is very, very dodgy, in my opinion. And I've seen that, with other players as well. I think we had one at Newcastle where, there was something with a medical report, and it turned out that the player had so many different problems with him. It just didn't work out in the end, and he had to be moved on. But Man United is another one, that us Newcastle United fans will be looking at, because they're around about the same area as Arsenal as well. Another one that, we will be having a challenge to be able to get into that spot for the European places. And I'm not that impressed with what Man United's been doing in the transfer window, I've got to say. Most of the players that they've brought in have been related to, Ten Hag in some way, from him being at Ajax, or, the fact that, he's a Dutch guy, and he's bringing in Dutch internationals. So it is a little worrying that, and I'd be a little worried if I was a Man United fan saying that. Obviously, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if your team's doing well. Sort of, in the fact that, once Ten Hag goes, are them players going to want to then stay? Or are they going to want to, jump ship and go away because, that guy isn't there anymore? Because that is a situation we've seen with clubs in the past where, players have wanted to move off to different areas as well. But it's all interesting. It's going to be an interesting season for sure. And I can't wait to see what happens. I really can't.
According to Arsenal fans, I'm seeing some Arsenal fans overhyping a friendly against Chelsea. I mean, pre-season. Since when has pre-season ever been the measure of if your team is going to win the league or not, or where your team's going to be next season? Pre-season is good, but we've seen clubs have a rubbish pre-season and do really good in the season, in the league when it starts, and have a good pre-season and do rubbish once the league starts. So I think it's context. I think a lot of my gripes with Arsenal fans, even though I am an Arsenal fan, is the majority of Arsenal fans get way too excited about little things that are kind of irrelevant. it's good beating Chelsea, but Chelsea were playing a 4 at the back when they normally play a 3. They also made stupid mistakes in the back. Listen, we have to capitalize. That's football. You capitalize on the mistakes of the opposing team. But you know, Tuchel is a top manager. He's going to iron a lot of that stuff out. He's also a manager that hasn't had all of his players. That whole squad ain't his. And he's trying to rebuild that squad. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. Arsenal fans always want to big up Mikel Arteta, but how many more players has he got in this team than Chelsea have that are Tuchel's? Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, for me, I just look at it as Chelsea haven't been taking pre-season properly. Chelsea made a lot of errors, and we were very proactive. I did like the way Arsenal were pressing. But let's see that on a consistent basis in the league before we start loading up Mikel our Saviour. Mikel our Saviour. I was supposed to say Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta is the Lord and Saviour. Do you know what I'm saying? Even I'm saying it. Like, what's going on? My head's gone. It's just like context. You know, when we start loading up, bringing in players like Marquinhos, that's a backup player. Fabio Vieira, that's a backup player. So before we start marking these guys as world class, let's put it into context. These guys are not Premier League proven. They're very young, and we don't know if they're ready yet. Do you know what I'm saying? So everything causes us to be a big song and dance at Arsenal. Let's just keep our powder dry. It was a good performance against Chelsea, but at the end of the day, we're 2 injuries away from the same crisis as last season. If Thomas Partey gets injured, that's what happened last season, and our season derailed. If Gabriel Jesus gets injured, that's our season derailed, because you're going back to Elneny and Nketiah. So a bit of context, because suspensions and injuries do happen. I mean, you lot had an injury from Trippier last season. Do you know what I mean? So when you don't have decent backup...
be gone again.
What's that? Hello? I think you're going to need to jump out, jump back in. I think you're freezing. I'll let you jump back in. Don't worry, just jump out and jump back in. But yeah, listen, I am going to get him. There's a reason why I was touching on Arsenal just quickly, even though this show is more focused on Newcastle. The reason is Paqueta has been linked to Newcastle. So let me get this story up. Paqueta has been linked to Newcastle. And is this going to be a Guimarães Part 2? Newcastle, £34 million midfielder on the list at St. James's Park. So it looks like Newcastle are looking at another target of Arsenal's. Hold on, let me get... Yeah. Is this going to be Guimarães Part 2? Because I never thought, no offense to Newcastle, but I never thought that Newcastle would be able to, you know, beat us to the punch for a player. But Guimarães signed for Newcastle. Is it going to be the same thing when we go up against them to sign Paqueta? For me, I don't think Paqueta is the levels anyway. I don't think Paqueta is a player that I really want at Arsenal. Is he better than Xhaka? Yes, but the standard isn't Xhaka, and Xhaka is so dead. I think most midfielders are better than Xhaka. Don't rate Xhaka at all. But at the same time, we've lost out to Aston Villa. We've lost out players to Newcastle now. So if we're going to go in for him, we need to be serious, and we need to go in now, not allow Newcastle to go in there and sell Paqueta a better project and a better vision for his future. So for me, I don't know what you make of this, but I don't know if this is going to be Guimarães Part 2. Paqueta being linked to Newcastle as well as Arsenal. What do you make of these links?
What was that, mate? Because I lost you there.
Newcastle being linked to Paqueta, the midfielder that Arsenal are apparently trying to get over the line.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think, you know, Paqueta as a player that is definitely wanting to come into Newcastle. Obviously, you know, his best mates here, Bruno. That's a big factor, you know, I'm sure, on wanting to move here. And of course, you know, he's bought into the project as well already, because he's been across here. You know, he's talked with Bruno whilst he's been across here. He's been here quite a bit since Bruno's moved to Newcastle. There was even images of him in the back garden of Bruno as well, wearing a Newcastle United shirt. So that, again, you know, adds a massive boost to these links of him being linked to Newcastle. So it's definitely a one, you know, that I think if Newcastle put the offer in, you know, Lyon's going to find it very hard to hold on to him. He's definitely a one, you know, where we just need to put the offer in and we've pretty much got the deal done and dusted. Then, you know, we've just got to get the wage of him as well, which I'm sure, you know, he's not going to be asking absolutely crazy wages. So it's definitely a one, that I think could happen. If it happens in this window, however, remains to be seen. Or, it could be one that could happen maybe in the January window or the summer window of next season. But it's definitely going to happen, I think, on this one. I'm putting it out there. I'm putting myself
you think
well out
Newcastle
there on
going to
that
pick
one.
us to Paqueta?
I think I'm putting myself well out there on that one. So if it doesn't go through, I will hold my hands up, and say I was wrong. But I definitely think, Paqueta is coming to Newcastle. It's just all about putting in the offer. And, then the player, I'm sure, will just come to Newcastle, because he's best mates here and he's bought into the project.
Listen, it's mad. If you lot pip us to another player, another target, it just shows where my club's at. Like, I see some people in the chat crying because I was saying that a 4-0 win over Chelsea doesn't determine where we're going to finish in the season. I don't know how long you've been watching football, but pre-season doesn't determine where you're going to finish in the season. So at the end of the day, you can be happy. They are rivals. No, I'm not saying be miserable, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean much, does it? It doesn't. It doesn't. And at the end of the day, we're not trying to catch up with Chelsea. We're trying to catch up with Liverpool, and Man City, because my expectation and expectation what Edu come out with is to win the league. So they're not even the team that I'm trying to catch up with. I'm trying to catch up with Liverpool and Man City. Like, a lot of Arsenal fans just get so rattled, because they don't like the truth. Listen, who cares? It's a friendly. Like, at the end of the day, I like the way we pressed in that game. I like the way we played in that game. I think Saliba had a great game. I think even Odegaard had a good game, a player that I criticize a lot. And I hope that a lot of players at Arsenal that I criticize, like Ben White, like Odegaard, prove me wrong. But I'm not going to say I'm proven wrong until I see a difference in performance. I'm sure Newcastle fans didn't look at Joe Linton and say, oh, well, you're negative for bashing Joe Linton. No, the player had to prove himself. And when he started putting in performances, then the praise came. But it's not just a one-off game or a friendly game or pre-season game, which is a friendly. No, you need to see it week in, week out. And then you say, you know what? I got it wrong. Or you know what? He's actually stepping up. You know what? Big up to him. Do you know what I'm saying? But Arsenal fans, if you don't overgas everything and, oh, it's amazing. Oh, look at our team. We're ready to win the league. No, we're not. No, we're not. We've got more competitions next season. We don't have no rotation for Saka. We have barely any rotation for Martinelli either. We've got Gabriel Jesus, which we haven't got rotation with. If any of them three get injured, Pepe doesn't play. Marquinhos isn't ready. Yeah, he looked all right, but he isn't ready. You got Nketiah, who isn't good enough. West Ham didn't come back in for him. They offered him 20 million last year and haven't come back in for him. We also got a midfield that's probably one of the weakest midfields in the top six, if not the weakest. Thomas Partey is a great midfielder, but always injured. Xhaka ain't good enough. So don't kid yourself, because he's been here so long, and he has little instances of Xhaka boom, and then what? Xhaka boom, every flipping, this guy his performances, good performances come round once every year like Christmas. This guy is rubbish, Then you got Odegaard, 2 banks of 4, the guy ain't doing nothing. Then you've got at the back, you've got Calamity and Ben White, I do think Saliba Gabriel is a better partnership. A right back, Cedric and Tomiyasu ain't good enough. Tomiyasu's starting to look like he's injury prone. Kieran Tierney's injury prone, and the backup to him is Savage. People don't get gassed. It happens every year, and a lot of Arsenal fans don't. They don't learn, bro. They don't learn. But listen, we're not on the Arsenal bit yet. So listen, I ain't gonna keep going on about Arsenal, But I'm just seeing some people getting rattled, crying in the comments. Keep crying, Keep crying. Because I told you last year we wouldn't get top 4. And you were the same people that said if we don't get top 4 with 10 games to go and us being favourites, he should be sacked. Where's that energy? Because all of you lot called for Arteta's head. He didn't get top 4. And that irrelevant manager that was only there at Tottenham for 6 months got top 4. How can it be done? You need all your players. You need £500,000 spent. How could you do it? Do you know what I'm saying? It's mad. It's actually mad. But listen, let's get back onto Newcastle. Because Arsenal is just going to raise my blood pressure. I'll be real with you, bro. I'm telling you right now. They just get so... But most of the people that watch this channel are some real ones. Big up to you lot, Drop Elite. You lot are some real ones, man. Let's get into this. Newcastle enter talks for PSG's Julian Draxler. Do you know anything about this story?
I've seen a little bit about it. It is a player that actually was quite a good player. He was pretty highly rated as well before he went to PSG, but it's it's not like he's been doing bad at PSG, but the game time is a little bit of a worry in the fact that he hasn't been getting regular game time. Obviously, he's a winger, so he's having to go up against the likes of Lionel Messi and Neymar to get game time. So that's obvious. It is going to be hard to go up against the likes of them kinds of players to be able to get game time. He's still done reasonably well in the game time that he has got, but he's 28 years old. He's still got a little bit of time left in his career. He's still young-ish, but sort of towards the latter end of his career now, and I think he could be a player, that if we were to bring him in, he could be a player that could improve with, at least for the moment, and maybe take with to that next level, like we've seen with the other signings, of Kieran Trippier in that as well. Players like that are the ones that you need to lay the foundation for the moment to be able to take you to that next level, because we're not going to get the absolute world beaters from the get-go. Everybody knows that. The owners knew that when they first took over the club as well, because Kadasi, one of the owners, of course, said patience is a virtue, to wait it out. It's going to take time. It's not all going to happen overnight, and as the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. We're not going to instantly become, Real Madrid of the 50s. That isn't how it happens. This isn't a football game. This isn't FIFA. This isn't Football Manager. You can't blast millions in the window and instantly become the absolute world beaters. It is going to take time. And like you've just said about the Arsenal fans, we have them here as well in Newcastle. We have fans that are not the smartest. There is fans in our fan base, like most clubs, like you've just said, about the Arsenal fans, where they just think that everything is going to happen overnight, and it's not the case. You've got to build it. It's got to be planned out. There's even to a point where some of the fans in the fan base are actually complaining that we don't have a state-of-the-art training facility. They're complaining that, we need to move from St. James's Park to a new stadium. I mean, I don't want to move from St. James's Park. This is Newcastle United. This is the home of Newcastle United. This is the cathedral on the hill. We are the only club, in probably world football to have the stadium in the center of the city. Most of them, you see them on the outskirts, like Man City. You see, Man United isn't even anywhere near Manchester for their stadium. Arsenal is a little bit away as well from where they should be. Tottenham as well. Even Chelsea have got theirs a little bit away as well. But obviously it's different with London because you can't be in the centre of London with how many teams there is. There wouldn't be any space to have all them stadiums in London because there's way too many teams. I mean, you've got Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Fulham. You've got Charlton Athletic, Watford. There's just so many teams that are based in London, so there'd be absolutely no way to have all them stadiums based in the centre of the city, because it just wouldn't work. It would be logistic nightmare for everybody going to the matches. It would just be absolutely horrendous. But again, it's something that I don't want to see. I don't want to see Newcastle move away from St. James's Park, but it's one of them things. We'll all have them. We'll all have them numpty fans in the fan base. I think everything's going to happen overnight when it really just isn't. It is going to take time, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I, for one, can't wait, because I've been supporting Newcastle all my life. I'm 32 years old now, and I've seen ups of Newcastle. I've witnessed, European nights where we've played the likes of, Juventus at St. James's Park with Edgar Davids playing there, Del Piero playing against where, I've seen many other teams as well in European nights at St James's Park. I've seen so many great moments at St James's Park, you know, and this is the home of Newcastle. And if we move from this, we could have a similar situation, you know, to what we've seen with the likes of West Ham, where they moved from Upton Park and they went to the London Stadium. Even Tottenham as well with their new stadium. You know, I know it's in the same area where the old White Hart Lane used to be, but you know, even that, they're having problems with attendances for games. Arsenal have attendance problems. You know, Man United have attendance problems for games. And I think, to be honest, looking at it, you know, if you move away from the stadium, there is a possibility that we could have that. I don't think it really would happen, considering, you know, the fact of how diehard us Newcastle United fans are. I mean, like I just said earlier on in the stream, you know, we sell out games well in advance. And the only reason that, you know, we need to move maybe to another stadium could be capacity. But like I said again, you know, there is still a potential there to build up St James's Park to 80,000 seater stadium, you know, so that could help. We'll go forward, but it's just all about the waiting game, really, moving forward from here and waiting to see what happens next, which I'm sure is what Man City fans went through and Chelsea fans before that went through. And that's always the case, you know, when you get a big takeover, you've just got to wait to see what happens, see, you know, where we go from here. And obviously PIF are going to want to make Newcastle world beaters, so they're going to want to put their influence onto the team as well, which, you know, could see maybe a marquee signing coming in on deadline day. But again, you know, we'll have to wait and see, to be honest, at the moment. But it is interesting. It definitely is.
Nah, it is what it is, man. Carl, big up for coming on. I'm going to stay on. I know you could only stay for an hour. Listen, I really appreciate it. We're going to get into some of the comments. People, before we continue and Carl goes, make sure you go like and subscribe to 100% Mag's channel for all your news surrounding Newcastle. Make sure you go like and subscribe. Go show my guys some love. Do you know what I mean? Big up, Carl, for jumping on once again.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for inviting us on. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and a pleasure as well reading some of the comments in the chat there as well from some of the people supporting Newcastle, some of them not supporting we as well. I've seen a few different ones, and hopefully, you know, things turn around as well at Arsenal for you guys, but not when you play Newcastle, of course.
I mean, for you lot too, man, because under your previous owner, you lot got mugged off. He was treating you lot like mugs, and I thought that was disgusting. You know what I mean? I thought it was absolutely disgusting the way that you know, he was treating you lot and changing the name to Sky Sports Direct and all that crap. And I just felt like, if you don't love the club, don't be in charge of it. You know what I mean? Don't milk it. You know, there's a lot of fans that love the club. Do you know what I mean? Just like with Arsenal. But for some reason, there's so many Arsenal fans that are lucky that they're happy. They're happy to get mugged off. They're happy 4% price rise. They're happy to not win nothing and be paying the highest ticket prices. They're happy that the club is never really, you know, up there competing for the league or the champions. They're happy. You know what I mean? And people like me that want more is negative. But it is what it is, man. Big up to you. And all the best. We'll definitely do something soon.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having us on.
Cheers. Bye.
See you around, mate.
Cheers.
Take care.
Right, let's get into some comments because a lot of you left comments and obviously we're so busy talking. Let's get into it because I saw a lot of people crying, caramba. A lot of people cry. Oh, no, sir, you're so negative. Nah. Cala boca, pa. You know what I mean? Crying, whinging like a filo da puta. Like, bruv, it's a friendly against Chelsea. Relax. Yes, be happy for the moment, but don't overgas it that we're going to win the league and we're going to be doing this and we're going to be... Relax, man. The same problems still are here. Don't get gassed with the PR. This is what I'm saying. Year in, year out, it's the same pucaria, and these man don't listen, bro. You know what I mean? And then let's get into it. Let's see what you lot are saying. Let's see what you told. Sue, what you saying, bro? Vamos, irmão. E a tropa elite. Pick up to you. Hit the likes and subscribe, people, or else the wooden spoon's coming out. You already know what time it is, caramba. You know what I mean? Big up Northside. Always look forward to hearing from one of the realest fans on YouTube. Big up to you, man. Thank you, bro. Apparently, me saying that pre-season is a friendly is rattling some people. I don't know. It's mad. Big up Northside. Big up to you. The comments are mad, bro. The interaction on the channel is mad. Big up to all of you lot, man. Honestly, big up Northside in the chat. Hope you're all good. Get Paqueta. Listen, is he going to go to Newcastle or is he going to come to Arsenal? Is another player going to be going to choose Newcastle over Arsenal? I don't know. And the reason that we're in this mess is because this club and the fans allow it to be in this mess. You know, the majority, not all of them, because a lot of you lot are some real ones. Bring Tammy home. Arsenal need 2 decent strikers. Also, until that central midfield is upgraded at Arsenal won't get top 4. Exactly. So what? It's irrelevant talking about, you know what I mean, what we did against flipping Chelsea. Like, it's irrelevant because when the season starts, they won't be defending like that. Let me tell you that. Yeah, Tuchel's a winner. And second of all, yeah, at the same time, it's just context. It's not that you can't be happy. You think I wasn't happy seeing Arsenal slap up Chelsea? Yeah, but it doesn't change the fact that our midfield, like you said, isn't strong enough. The fact that we don't have no good striker barring Gabriel Jesus. We don't have a right back the same level as Tini. We don't have these things. We don't have a decent enough player to take Partey out the team or another Santi Cazorla to play alongside him. We don't have that. We don't have a world-class number 10. We don't have wingers to rotate with our youngsters that can't be expected to play week in, week out. Because Pepe ain't getting no games because he's not favoured. Nketiah had more games at the end of the season than flipping Pepe. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's still problems. Don't allow the club and Edu, they only want to come out and speak about things when the going's good, when everything looks okay. Because we piped Chelsea, now Edu wants to do 101 interviews. Now I'm done with that. Bun the interviews. You lot made a lot of promises, yeah? And now it's time to deliver. It's more than enough time now to deliver. Yeah, I want proper signings. I don't want players that's going to be good in 3, 4, 5, 6 years. I want to win now. You know what I'm saying? But for some people, that's negative. We backed out of Paqueta because Newcastle are in for him. Bro, if that's the truth, then it's mad. It's actually mad. You know what I mean? It's actually mad. Trippier moved only because he won the only medal he was ever going to win at Atletico at his age, the way that was written. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Large up north side and Mag, Iwe, the lads. Yeah, come on, man. You know what I mean? That's what some people put in. Well, why do we care about Newcastle? Bro, there's not much news around Arsenal, innit? I think I'm going to do a separate video, actually, about Edu. I was going to do it on this video, but I think, you know what? Let me allow it. I'm going to do a whole video on Edu. We're going to go through everything Edu's been coming out and saying, innit? Every little bit that he's been doing. I think he did 2 interviews, if I'm right. I saw 2, 3 videos. So I don't know if it's one of them or 2 videos. No, 2. Yeah, one of them was on Sky Sports and another one was on something else. We're going to get into that, yeah? We're not going to cram it all into this video. I will be getting into that. Also, people, make sure tomorrow I will be doing the rival show, me and Deji. I was busy this Sunday, so yeah, wasn't able to do it. But listen, tomorrow will be the rival show, so make sure you stay tuned into that and we'll be getting into what's going on around Tottenham. We'll also be getting into what's going on around Arsenal. Other than the Edu interview, not much has been going on. So, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. What's this here? Paqueta must have seen what Guimarães saw. Wonder if Guimarães Paqueta will mock the transfer committee recruitment team. Paqueta providing to be a money merchant. Damn, Newcastle ain't shit. Bro, Newcastle, I'm telling you, if they continue on the trajectory, they're on the up. It may take a while. I'm not saying next year they're going to be competing for the league. I ain't saying nothing crazy like that. But I like what they did last season. From where they were in a relegation battle to where they ended up, I think was decent. What else here? What they got, Botman, Fodders, who's next? Cop miners. I don't even know who that is, man. I can't even lie to you. My boy Northside caught me snipping with the early video still. There, man, listen, when I got things to do in the afternoon, then you know what I mean. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. See some people crying over there in the chat. It's calm. You just get blocked. It's real simple. Good afternoon, Northside. It's mad. So many people that get rattled still want to come watch my videos. It's mad. Keep liking and subscribing, yeah? Welcome, Fido da Puta. You know what I mean? Even 4 days ago, I predicted Paqueta was on his way to the tomb. It's mad. Listen, that's just what's been out there. You know what I mean? Is this Newcastle talk making you jealous, Northside? Listen, ain't making me jealous, yeah, but you know what I mean? They don't seem to need a project youth and 101 players to get to start seeing performances and start seeing their team improve. One season that, you know, that their manager's there and you see instant progression. Arteta sent us from from Unai Emery getting us 5th, Arteta sent us 8th, and then back to 5th. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't say that's progression because that's back to where we was under Unai Emery. So how's that progression? But a lot of people don't want to look at it like that. You know what I mean? Let's move on now. Nothing going on at Newcastle. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Listen, it is what it is. When there's not much news around Arsenal, it's good to look at what other teams are doing. Do you know what I'm saying? We got Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Xhaka, Bellerin, Pepe, Cedric, Holden for sale. Interested. Listen, I don't. Nobody's dumb enough to go and get them players. You know what I mean? No one's dumb enough to go. Well, I don't think Pepe's that bad, but we do have some Premier League rivals looking at Pepe. Well, not rivals, but Premier League teams. Did you guys see Sesko to Newcastle links? Yeah. Always rated Depay even now. What else you lot saying? Spursy, Depay is dead. He is Man United reject, says Fuad. What's it now? Tony is better than all of them. Yeah, I want Tony, but it's mad. I don't think we're going for him. I saw Ivan Toney being linked to Man United. I don't think we're going in for him. It's mad. It's actually mad. My dad's pal knows a scout for Newcastle, and apparently we had a £40 million bid accepted for Draxler. Okay. Apparently Eddie Howe is impressed with Munoz. Is it Munoz? You pronounce that? I'm not too sure. Newcastle tax same as PSG. If a player worth 20 for them teams is 40 to 45 mil, you need to build that reputation for not giving easy money to all right player. Stick to your valuation, no auctions. Yeah, I agree with that. Let's see if they start overpaying, because teams obviously know that they got money. So yeah, they're going to put a little bit of a tax, but that's just what happens. When you're a big 6 team, you get a tax. Arsenal still get a tax. Even though we ain't got oil on the money, they know that we're one of the richest clubs in the world. So we still get taxed on players. Newcastle will get their first big name manager by the middle of this season or next summer. Yeah, I can agree. I can see that. Yeah, what's this here? What's this here? What's everyone saying? He has no experience, but won more in recent times than Howe. Newcastle going to be a force in the league in 3 years. That's what I'm saying. That's why need to be looking at what Newcastle are doing, because they will be a force. They got the money, and with football, money talks. Money talks. There's a correlation in every league with whoever spends the most, whoever's spending the most, got the most financial power, normally wins the league. In Portugal, it's Porto and Benfica. They normally are the ones that dominate that league. In Spain, Real Madrid and Barcelona. Over here, we already know the traditional big 4, big 6, or whatever you have. So listen, it's always like that. Obviously over there in France as well, that PSG's been dominating. They got the most money. Bayern Munich over there, Bundesliga. So listen, they're in a come up, and whether people want to clown them or not, they are in a come up. So it may take longer than Man City, but they are on the come up because they got the funds to do so. They got money to dash at it. Arsenal shouldn't be worried because Pep Guardiola's philosophy is never stand in the player's way, no matter how good he is. Yeah, but at the same time, would he have given Aguero away to us in his prime? Do you know what I'm saying? So I kind of got what Carl was saying, that they're giving certain players, but there's certain players they're not going to give to their rivals. You know what I mean? So I get it, but still, my thing to that is Man City's B team is still better than Arsenal's A team. Like, that's my opinion. They're still better. Do you know what I'm saying? Well, before we got Zinchenko and Jesus and everything, but they got a very good B team that is arguably better than Arsenal. So at the end of the day, I don't mind getting their B team players. You know what I mean? I don't mind it because their B team players is better than what we currently have. Benfica is also winning friendlies and not here saying that the club will do quadruple. Arsenal still needs to fix some holes in their squad. Exactly. Big up to you, Francisco. Exatamente, caramba. Exatamente. Bro, since when is the measuring stick the friendlies and the pre-season? Like, it's mad. It's actually mad. It's mad. Top 4 is a trophy now. Yeah, well, it's mad. Well, top 4 is a trophy. Yeah. Oh, here it is. Here's one of the crybabies. Northside London, real Arteta hater. A hater, yeah? I couldn't care less, bruv. I just want the best for my club, and he's not the best. He's not the best manager. He don't have the best CV. and he's shown me in 3 years time, in 3 years that he's been in, that he ain't good enough. So what do you want me to say? Do you want me to start lying? What has he won? FA Cups. Okay, cool. A washed up Arsene Wenger won FA Cups, but you lot still wanted him out. I wanted him out, but you lot still wanted him out. We wanted better than FA Cup and top 4 finish every season. So why is it now all of a sudden the end all and be all? Mikel Arteta is the biggest savior in the world because he gets that. We weren't happy. Do people forget? We was not happy. As a fan base, we were not happy with Arsene Wenger getting Champions League football, not Europa, Champions League football, yeah? Finishing 4th and only winning FA Cup. So why all of a sudden is that okay now under Arteta? It's mad. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. So yeah, it's I don't know who you're talking to. Go support Spurs. Maybe you need to go support Spurs, because if you're upset with what I'm saying, then you might as well go support Spurs, because that's a club that are only happy just to be involved. They don't care about competing. Historically, they don't care about actually winning. They get excited just being involved in the top 4, being involved in Champions League, not winning it, just being involved in it. So if that's your mentality, why don't you go down there? Because the history of this club is not the great moments like double winning seasons and Invincibles were about actually lifting trophies, you know, actually getting it. Where's my blood clot trophy? Where's my trophy, caramba? I don't even know what my trophy is. You know what I mean? Actually lifting trophies, yeah? Not celebrating and saying, oh, well done, just for being involved, getting knocked out in quarterfinals of the Champions League every season. You know what I mean? Just about scraping top 4. Bruv, it's mad. It's mad. Being linked doesn't mean he's top in their list. Sometimes, man, they're just rumors. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Listen, when I talk about links, I'm not saying that it's 100% it's going to happen. I'm just saying that's the links that are going around. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I mean by that. I'm just putting out stories that, you know, that I'm seeing online. Top 4 is a race, not a trophy. But another thing, Arsenal lost out on last season. Exactly. Well said, bro. Well said. What's this? I'd rather be at the Emirates this weekend backing my brothers. Okay, you keep backing the process. That's not going to yield anything. That's up to you. That's your decision. Arsenal fans always complaining. I'd actually think that's incorrect. I think Arsenal fans are always bigging up mediocrity. I think Arsenal fans as a whole always making the littlest thing into the hugest thing. You know, everything that this club does is world class. It's so world class. We ain't been winning no major honors. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, just relax. All I'm saying is relax. If you're happy about beating Chelsea, I'm happy too. But it doesn't mean that there's glaring problems in this club, in this team, that need to be rectified. Let's be real. Let's be real about it. Celebrate the win, but I'm not having anyone telling me, oh, we're going to do this. No, relax. Relax. I think Odegaard took his goal well. I think Gabriel took his goal very well. Lokonga as well took his goal well. All these instances were shocking defending from Chelsea. We're not going to be going through the whole league, going for, playing teams that are going to be defending like that. Schoolboy defending from Chelsea. Absolute schoolboy. You know what I mean? That Chalobah, Nemande, ridiculous. But listen, we made them pay, and I'm happy about that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change the fact that there's glaring areas at this team that need to be worked on. And until we do that, then I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change how I feel. It just is what it is. What's this? What are you lot saying? Where this Muppet coming from? Relax for this. It's just a preseason game. Puta que pariu. That's what I'm saying, man. It's always about getting overly excited. Like, just relax. You know what I mean? Just relax. You know what I mean? Just need to relax, man. Honestly, need to relax. Love Arsenal, hate Cronkies. You are shit. Yeah, well, if you're saying Arsenal is shit, yeah, Arsenal are shit, yeah. Like, compared to what we used to be, unbeaten in 3 preseason games and now winning the Premier League, that's Troop's mentality. I don't know. I didn't see what Troop said, but yeah, we ain't winning nothing. We ain't winning nothing. Relax, people. It's just a preseason game, caramba. Yeah, it's just a preseason game, people. What's the? Oh, here we go. Arsenal for life. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he's a super fan. Let's see what he's saying. Why are you moaning, Northside? We just won against Chelsea, and you're sitting there moaning. Trust Arteta, Northside. We are gonna win the Europa. Okay, so you think we can win the Europa League, yeah? So why did we lose? Why did this manager lose to Olympiacos? Why did he lose to Unai Emery's team in Villarreal? What have you seen from this manager in the Europa League, yeah, that we can actually do anything in Europe? Because I haven't seen this manager do anything in Europe. I haven't. His first season, what did he do when he was in Europe? The only season that he was still in Europe. Like I don't know, what are you basing this on? Like I don't understand. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm not going to get through every position we need to strengthen because you man already know what we need to strengthen in this club. Do you know what I'm saying? There's still a lot of work to be done. Like I said, I said at the start of the window, we need 7 starting players, yeah, to actually be up there trying to compete for the league. I don't care about going for top 4. And I think it'll probably be tomorrow when I do the video about Edu's interview. Edu's saying the same thing in his interview, saying that the aim is not getting top 4. The aim is to be winning things. And we should have the aim to be winning major honors. He said it himself. So anyone that wants to call me negative, so, okay, cool. You know what I mean? What do you make of Edu? Because your sporting director's coming out saying the same thing that I'm saying. So is he negative? Is he toxic? Is he creating division amongst the fan base? Because he's come out and said the same thing. I don't know. What do you make of Edu saying it? I don't know. But uncomfortable conversations that a lot of people don't want to have. It is what it is. Question for Northside. What are your thoughts on Arsenal fans laughing at Chelsea for missing out on their transfers? Listen, I'm not even shocked anymore. You know, it's always the same pucaria. Like, why are we laughing at Chelsea? Why are we laughing at Chelsea? They got 2 Champions League in the last couple of years. What have we got? What major honors have we got? Do you know what I'm saying? What have we done? Like, we have no right to be laughing at Chelsea, yeah? Because at the end of the day, they ended last season ahead of us, and they're yet to do some more business. So let's just keep our powder dry. Like, don't get too excited. Just wait. But no, Arsenal fans online can't help themselves. They can't help themselves. Big up Northside. Love these crybaby Chelsea fans. Bro, I ain't laughing at them. Me personally, I ain't laughing at. Like, I'm laughing inside, but I'm not gonna go online and start clowning them. Like, at the end of the day, like, come on, like, I'm not gonna do that. What's this here? Real talk though, Arteta has pretty much signed all these players in his starting 11. A trophy and Champions League is a must. Bro, people say it's a must, and then once he underachieves, they move the goalposts and say, oh no, well, we had injuries and we had COVID and we had this and VAR, and Arsenal fans always move the goalposts. You know what I'm saying? Like, most fans were saying that if he didn't get top 4, he should get sacked. I still want him sacked, but most people are now giving him another chance and give him more money and give him this and give him that. Like, it's ridiculous. Big up Northside, big up Newcastle. Northside, why are you moaning, caramba? We winning the league for us. These Muppets are out now. Listen, it's mad. What's this? Big up Northside, big up to you, bro. I didn't even know we had a super chat. Sorry. AFC first 11 is good. However, depth for DM and right back. Bro, we don't even have a good deep line playmaker. I'd argue we don't even have a really good deep line, really good number 10, like a world-class one. We have decent. Odegaard is decent. Fabio Vieira is probably decent. I don't think they're world-class though. I want world-class. I don't think we've moved to the Emirates to get decent. Do you know what I'm saying? We don't even have. You're talking about depth as well, bro. We don't even have depth for the striker position. You know what I'm saying? We don't even have depth for our wingers, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. We don't have depth in a lot of areas, bro. And I think a lot of people are not really realizing that. But like I said, because we're having a decent preseason, people are looking over that. But I'm not looking over it. Be nice if Arsenal was waiting for Man United to bid for Tielemans so we could sneak a Neves bid in. I don't know all of that, man. I don't know. I don't know about all of that. Kane and Neves are the 2 main transfers we should go for. What's this? You guys don't get fooled by Edu and Arteta with what they say. These men, trust me, these men are bruv, I don't listen to any of them. You know what I mean? Cheers, guys. Big up to 100% Mags. People, make sure you go like and subscribe to this channel. And make sure you like and subscribe to 100% Mags. Make sure you go click on his channel. I tried to get the link up on the description. I don't know if it's up now. but I tried to, but it wasn't letting me for some reason. What else are you lot saying? We should offer Tottenham or Wolves Pepe and Niles for Kane or Neves and money. That's never gonna happen. Come on, man. Let's be real. Come on, it ain't gonna happen, my guy. Luca, big up, bro. Big up. What's this here? What's this? Fuad's got Arteta's pajamas on. Yeah, he probably does. Real talk, no side. We as Arsenal fans just happy being involved. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? As long as we're there, that's all that matters. It's not about competing. Go support another club if you don't back Arteta and the next Pep Guardiola. Oh, sorry, I don't know that. Since where did you buy? When you started supporting Arsenal? Where did you buy the manual of how to be a supporter? Because you seem to have the manual. So I tell you what, Filo da Puta, why don't you send it over to me? Yeah, shipping and post, send it to me. Yeah, the manual on what it means to be a supporter for Arsenal. Because I didn't know that I have to just support bullshit and mediocrity. And the same fans that say that we have to support everything this club do, yeah, are the same people that wanted to force out Ozil, wanted to force out Aubameyang, yeah? So you pick and choose when you want to back the club. When it's the manager, we have to back him through thick and thin, whether he achieves or he doesn't achieve. Aubameyang was deemed, oh, he doesn't score enough, let's forget everything he's done for the club, get him out, he's toxic, yeah? Okay, why didn't you back him then? Why didn't you back him? They pick, this is what I'm saying, they always pick and choose what they want to back. The owner and the manager always get back no matter what. But certain players, they don't get back. It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Please, send it to me. You know what I mean? Postage and package. Send to me what the manual is to be an Arsenal fan. Because you seem to know how it is to be an Arsenal fan. These days, it's about bigging up mediocrity. It's mad. It's actually mad. What's this here? Fan police out here telling mans to support other clubs. The entitlement of these privileged fans carrying on being sheep fans. Look at how shit we are and good our rivals are. It's mad. Like I said, they always want to hold fans like me accountable instead of holding the owner, the Cronkies, Edu and Arteta accountable. Because I'm not the one here saying that we should be competing with Bayern Munich. I'm not the one that made us go out of Highbury and move to the Emirates. I'm not the one that's in charge of decisions at Arsenal and been underperforming. That's not been me. Do you know what I'm saying? But all of a sudden, I'm held to an account, but you don't want to hold the owners of your club to account while we've been shit for the last 18 years. Puta que pariu. It's mad. It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. Paqueta would have cost north of £50 million. Bro, if they really want him, go for him because we're wasting time. And then our targets go to our rivals. The way Arsenal fans is gassing about the preseason is the same as seeing an incel being invited by Victoria Street model to drink a coffee. Big up Northside and everyone in the chat. Big up to you, bro. What's this here? So many. The problem is, if we sack him now, then what would have been the point in bringing in his players? Well, this is why I wanted him to get sacked as soon as we did get top four. I get what you're saying, but I wanted him to be sacked. The midfield needs to be strengthened. Yeah, I agree with you, bro. Edu says he wants trophies. If Arteta doesn't get it this season, he will sack him. Probably not because Edu is incompetent at his own job. Listen, we shouldn't even be giving him since when do you keep your job when you keep underperforming year in, year out? If you go to your daily job and you don't do your own thing, you get sacked. Why is this guy not getting sacked? Well said, Northside. Look at the last 10 years. Who has won what Arsenal fans call us shit, a shit club, and Arsenal win 1 trophy. We won 8. Imagine that winning more, but Arsenal's still better. The way you worded that was mad, but I get what you're saying. The amount of trophies you lot have been winning for the amount of time that we ain't been winning, it's mad that we can even be bantering with you lot. But this is Arsenal fans, man. It's mad. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. What's this here? Forward wanting to win silverware makes us all sheep. Make it make sense. Yeah, sorry. Forward wanting to win silverware makes us sheep. Make it make sense. Forward don't ever make no sense, man. I don't even penny their opinions. They are as valid as the first COVID booster. Oh my days. I started supporting Arsenal long before Arteta and Edu brought the club down to mediocrity. I'll support the club and speak the truth and do whatever the fuck I want. Big up to you, Old School Gooner. Make sure you lot go and subscribe to the Old School Gooner. Listen, people, make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification. I know today's video is a lot earlier than usual, but listen, man's got things to do a lot later on. Make sure you like and subscribe. And yeah, the video tomorrow, just so you know, tomorrow I will be doing a video with what's his name? With Deji for the Rivals show. It'll be tomorrow. And I'll probably be putting out 2 videos tomorrow. Tomorrow also will be doing a video surrounding what Edu said, his interview, and any other players that have been linked to Arsenal. Today, there wasn't much news around Arsenal, and I thought it would be good to have a conversation with an opposing team fan, Newcastle fan. So yeah, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you go support 100% Mag's channel. And yeah, we're out, Caramba. We're out.